Hi, this is a step-by-step tutorial video on how to install the Linguistic Library software onto your own website. Now before we begin, there are two softwares that you will need to make this work, and that is FileZilla, which you can see down here, and also 7-zip or WinRAR or some sort of decompressing software. Both of these can be found for free online, and the installation is pretty straightforward. So once you have those two things, we're ready to begin. So the first thing you do is you go to the Linguistic Library website, which is linguisticlibrary.org, not .com. And here in the very center you should see a big download button with the newest version of the software. And you click it, and it'll ask you to save a file, and right here says save file, have that there, and click OK, and that should download onto your computer. Now where it goes depends on what your settings are. Usually it's either in the downloads folder or on your desktop. In my case it's on the desktop, so if I minimize this, I see it right here. So this is the file that I just downloaded. So this is where the decompressing software comes in, or 7-zip. What you do is you right click, and you'll see here 7-zip has added a menu. If you don't see something like this, it's because you haven't installed the software. But once 7-zip pops up with this submenu, you go and you extract the contents to Linguistic Library. And what that does is it takes all the files within that zip file and creates a folder right next to your file with the contents. If you open this up, you can see this is where the meat of the software is, this folder right here. These are instructions and licensing information, but the main thing we want to concern ourselves with is this folder right here. So now what you want to do is you want to upload this to your website. And the next thing you need to know is you need to know what your FTP logins are for your hosting account, because that's what you're going to need in order to upload your files. You upload your files using FileZilla. So this is where FileZilla comes in. Right here, this is a software that's really simple, and it connects your computer to your server, basically to your website. In order to find out how to do that, you have to go to your hosting account. In this case, I'm going to use bluehost.com. So say that this is the first time you have a website, you just bought it and you just got a hosting account, and you log in. In this case I'm just going to log in. It doesn't matter what your logins are, of course. That's your own private thing. But here we are at what's usually the hosting account's main control panel. Go to the FTP manager, or the equivalent that you have on your hosting account, and here you see it says add FTP account. So the login will usually be whatever you want at, and then the name of your website, and you pick a password, and then you enter that password again, and then you can create the FTP account. Once you've done that, that's all you really need to do with this part of the website. You can minimize this now, and you go to FileZilla, and you go File Site Manager, and right here you can already see that I've entered my credentials. But if you were to click New Site, and then you can call this Linguistics, it'll ask you for the credentials, which are your host, your login, which you should set to normal. Your user is where you type in the username, and the password would go right here. And the host is also important, which is the website you're on. For mine, which is Ion Tech Center here, the host is Ion Web Studios It's usually your website, or it could be FTP at ftp.ionwebstudios.com or ftp dot whatever your domain name is. And here I have as user is Adion Designs at ionwebstudios.com and the password. So once you have that, you click OK, and then you can click connect. Okay, so it says here, the last message here, it says it's the listing was successful. So what am I seeing here? What does all this mean? Basically, you have two sides. One side is right here, which is your computer. Over here we have your website. Okay, so this is a subfolder on this website, and if I click it, it takes me to what is essentially the directories of my website. Over here, I want to be in my my desktop folders. So here I'm in my desktop, and I can see the folders within here. Here the same thing, you have a tree, and then the tree's folders are down here. So here in the desktop is my Linguistic Library folder, and if I open that up, this looks familiar. This is exactly what's in here. So I'm basically looking at that folder from here. And on this end, Adion Designs, I haven't showed you, this is actually my site. So if I go to adiondesigns.com, this is what that looks like. And I have, my contact page and everything. And these here, the contact page is right here, so you can see the contents of that too. So if I want to make my own linguistic library on my website, what I want to do is I want to create a new folder so that I can put all that content in, so that it doesn't just get in the way of everything else that's already on your website. And the way you do that is, you right-click with your mouse and create directory, and then let's title that linguistics. Okay. So now we have a new folder here. So this folder here wasn't there before. If you double-click this, it'll be empty because you just made an empty folder. But that, because it's a folder within Adion Designs, it's equivalent to having here adiondesigns.com/linguistics. So that right there, that URL would take you to the folder that I just created. But right now there's nothing in it, so it wouldn't manifest anything. But once I dump something in there, that's what that will take me to. So going back here, I want to dump all the contents within here onto here, because then that's what I'll be seeing. But you don't want to drag the folder as it is here. You want to drag the contents inside. Otherwise, you'd have an extra folder in there already. So what you do is you can highlight everything by clicking the top file, and then holding down Shift and clicking the bottom file. That selects everything. Once you have all those selected, you just drag and drop them here. Okay, as we can see now, it's completed. See, there's nothing left here, and successful transfers. So now if I go up back here, see linguistics, I click here, and I see lots of content. Everything that I need basically is already in there. So now, if what happens if I go here, adiondesigns.com/linguistics? Well, it actually shows something. There it is. So you can try to play with it here, but it's not completed because it won't save anything if you make a post. It won't save it because it doesn't know where to save it to. That's why you need a database for. And the database is created from your hosting account. So we're back here. This is where you made your FTP account. Now I didn't make one because I had already made one, so I just used the one that I had already made. But if you go back to your main control panel, this is the part that confuses some people. It was definitely confusing to me at first, so I'm going to try to explain it very carefully. You find your MySQL databases on the Bluehost. It's down here where it says Database Tools. and it says here MySQL databases. And here we have a similar screen. We see create new database. So if you don't want to fumble around and intermix your files, you want to create a new database, and that's simple enough. You just give it a name. So I'm gonna call this Addion LL for Linguistic Library, and I'm just gonna create that database. It's as simple as that to create it. The other thing you need to do is create a user that can access the database. So in the same page, if you scroll down, you'll also see that it says MySQL users and add new user. So I'm going to add a new user called Addion, same as before. I'm going to create a new password for it. And then I'm going to create the user. Great, it says now I got a user. Okay. Third step is linking the database to the user. I know this is tedious. It's kind of like, oh, why doesn't this just do that automatically? But it's pretty straightforward. So down here it says add user to database. So you want to select Addion LL and add it to the database Addion LL. And you click add. And if it asks you what privileges you want to have, click all. And then you're good to go. So now, if you come back here, you'll see that there's a new database listed, and the privileged users have something listed there, so whatever you entered there. So go back to the cPanel, and right next to the MySQL databases, there's something called a phpMyAdmin. Basically, every web host should also have this, so once you click on it, the interface should look generally the same for all of them. And so right here, we enter the name of the user we just created, which is Addion LL, and the password good. Okay. So here we are on phpMyAdmin. We're logged in. This is the database. Right now it's empty. So what you want to do is you want to go here, click on databases. And there's one database here, which is the one you made, and click on that one again. Make sure to do these steps in this precise order, because it takes you to different pages if you don't. So right here, this is once again empty, no tables found in database, but you click import. And make sure you're on that screen where I just was before you click import, otherwise it'll take you to different places. So now, basically it says you made a database, but the database is empty, so fill it with something. We fill it with the database that came with the folder. So if we go back to our desktop, when we opened this up, we saw some files. This is an SQL file. This is where the database is. So all this was uploaded onto the FTP or FileZilla. This one comes through the phpMyAdmin. So click open, and at the very bottom, just click go, because all the settings are the way they're supposed to be, so that's fine. Now, oh, you see that over here? So these just popped up, and these are the database files. These track all your posts, all your alphabet characters, and everything that your software needs. Right now, you're pretty much done. the last little bit that you need to do, and this is pretty straightforward, is you need to change one of your files. If you go back here, remember this is I'm on Adion Design /linguistics, and this is the contents. Right here, there's a folder called includes. So click on that and find the connectdb.php. This is a very crucial file that helps tell your software what database to use and what the name of it is and the credentials and so forth. So here, if you double click on this, it'll download over to your files. So I want to be in my desktop, and I'm going to double click. Okay, good. So now I should see here the connect.db file. Okay, good. You right click on that and you open it with Notepad. You don't want to double click it because that's not going to work. So this is, whoa, really confusing, right? PHP, I don't know PHP. You don't need to know PHP to do this. It's okay. All you need to do is you need to change these values right here to the credentials you just created. So the DB user is the database user. So what was the name we just made? It was Adion LL. Cool. And the database name, let's start here. The database name was also Adion LL. And the password is like that. And I'm just going to blur this out just for privacy. But once you got that, you click File, Save. So that saves the file. Now you can close this window. So this is now modified to what you need to do. And you should see it here too in your desktop, because this is a representation of your desktop. And what you do is you drag it back over here, or double click it, whichever. And it'll ask you if you want to replace the other file with your new file. And to that, you just say overwrite right here. Action overwrite. Click OK. Great. And you are done. Thank you for following along. I hope that worked for you. And so let's test it and make sure that it does work. Let's say I wanted to sign up. Once again, I'm on adiondesigns.com linguistics. I just made this software, and I want to be an author, and well, my display name to be one, my email, my password, and then register. Okay, now that I'm registered, I go to the login, and I see, okay, good. You see this here, it says, it means that it's recognizing me as a user, and from here I can create entries. So, the create new entry button takes you to the meat of the bones. This is the main page, where you can make a test post. So I'm going to call this test post, and word 1, word 1, word 2, word 2, and we're gonna see if that saves my settings. Okay, good. Sure enough, word 1 is highlighting word 1 over here, word 2 here, and if you go to the library, you'll see now your first entry is showing up, which is test post by me, made on this date. Great! So everything's working now. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in this video, and I'll answer you right away. Thanks for following along, and I'll see you next time.